Welcome to Creative Spaces Podcast with Guy Zwick, Chief Creative Officer of Highway 85 Creative. In each episode, we will discuss creative ways to define your space and build your brand.
So it's been a minute or two since we've actually got together back in the studio. So the folks that are listening at home, welcome back to the Creative Spaces Podcast. I'm one of the co-hosts, Scott Samil. I'm sat across the table from the Guy Zwick himself. Welcome to your own studio, Guy. What's up? And we have we've up-leveled here a bit. We have our own in-studio production director, Joe Anderson. What's up, Joe?
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, so after you get 10 regular listeners, that including your family, you move up and you get a true technician.
You get a sound engineer. We're big time now.
Sound engineer.
That's what he is. I like it. So yeah, I figured it's been a little bit since we actually talked in the studio, but there's been a lot of
we did a lot of getting all the Exhibitor Live podcasts,
and those are in production and editing, and they should be leaking out pretty soon, right?
They have been.
Okay. Yeah, most of them are live now. There's just a couple that are left to go live.
So
perfect.
That was a focus, of course.
So
I'm glad we're back at it, though.
Yeah.
Same here. And just while I have you guys here, give me the quick rundown of what you thought of the Exhibitor Live podcast. Did you guys like the idea, hate it, love it? What do customers think? What do clients think? Talk to me about that real quick.
Of course, you think it's your idea.
But how did it end up
somebody else could have had that idea to bring it here, and we're not the first ones to podcast ever at a trade show, but in our industry we were, and it caught everybody by storm, and everybody was either like, well, what are you guys doing there? Mainly since I did a lot of working the booth space out front and introducing our GPS kit, Scott and what's your name? Joe. Joe number 2.
2, that's
we
right.
Had 4 Joes at the
I'm
company.
2 of 4.
He's
wow.
Joe number 2. Really, really, really hit it out of the park with the podcast because we had scheduled ones, we had exhibitors walking by, and then the buzz became huge, and basically all 5 hours of shows, there was a podcast going, someone in line, sometimes 2 podcasts going because we had overlap and people on top of each other. And, it was a whirlwind. And then it had legs because we've got coverage since then for I've been on a couple other podcasts, and we've been written up in some of our industry magazines as a really positive vibe because in those podcasts we were promoting others, promoting good ideas, celebrating the trade show industry, right. Why we were thankful for trade shows, and I think it came off well.
Beautiful. Do you think that you'll do it again next year?
A podcast?
Yeah.
At the show?
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah, I do.
Something to talk about?
Yeah, I do. I think maybe we'll make it a little more remote. Like we'll move around a little
I
bit
see.
more.
It could be more mobile. We can have
because we did a little vlogging for the first time, right? With the camera going around.
Sure.
And it caught some good stuff too. So maybe we take the podcast vlog thing all as one and move around to
Joe, couldn't you see him in a pair of those Google glasses? He's wearing.
We have some of those actually. We have Snapchat one, the Snapchat spectacles.
Right.
Yeah,
I can see that. Well,
I did try to get him to let me buy a pair of the spy glasses.
Yeah,
so I could walk around taking pictures.
Oh, that's tough.
I wasn't into it.
No, that's scary. But it's a conversation for another time. But that's good. So. Jumping right in, today's topic. We're at the Creative Spaces Podcast. It's all about the industry. It's all about defining the right space for your brand and your personality. Talk to me, Guy, about Studio 85. What is it? Why is it? What is it? Why does it matter to people? Who should use it? What the heck is Studio 85? Go.
You're sitting in it. Right
it's
now.
Actually beautiful. We should take a picture and take it.
So yes, Studio the brainchild of Studio 85 is simple. It is audio is an emerging space right now. It's growing with your Alexas and your Siris and your Google Home and your whatever the Apple one now is, and you can listen to these podcasts. And you can be an expert in fields, and you can get it when you want it. You can multitask while you're doing it. So it's huge. So that's why we got in this space. What we want to do is we want to pay it forward.
Yeah.
Provide a service to help small businesses, local businesses to come in, to try a podcast of their own, to be an expert, whether it's for some of their social, whether they've been thinking about it and have things they want to say, come in here, try it. We have some great partners that can be hosts for you if they need a host. Basically, that's what we built the studio for. One was for the Highway 85 Creative Spaces podcast, and
Right.
two, it was how do we allow other people to get into this? I mean, in a nutshell, I mean, I'm simplifying
No,
it
but
a
that's
little
good.
bit.
So let me clarify. And if Joe, if we miss a point, please jump in. But basically, you're saying Studio 85 is free.
It's free.
If I'm a small and crazy, when you say small business, a small business could make $8 million a year. To me, that's not small. That's actually big. But anyway, a small business or a nonprofit or any kind of a local organization
Yep.
that wants to come and tell their story, you have a ready-made podcast with production equipment, very, very high tech,
We got
state-of-the-art
We got
recording equipment,
state of the
microphones.
art equipment and microphones,
And
and we have a beautiful studio that very much plays off of the State 48 feel in here. It's a little westerny. I don't know, it's Arizona, if you will.
But
It's almost like a saloon.
It is. It's slow, and we have
yeah.
coffee, and we have alcohol, depending on your
And it might even be local
what
batch
time
made.
it
We'll
is
see.
at, or what your preference is. You know, have a little fun while you're here. Make it a happy hour podcast. Make it an evening. Make it a weekend.
If I'm
we have a screen here, so you can use visuals, and you can WebEx out and do podcasts remotely with others.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just if
fun.
If a small
It's
business
exciting.
or some kind of an organization locally wants to dabble in the whole audio medium, perhaps podcast, or maybe even let me sit and tell you my story, take the actual coverage and shove it into a blog on my own website. That's what they can use it for that as well.
Yeah, and I find entrepreneurs fascinating personally. So selfishly, I would love to just mingle and hear from other entrepreneurs myself on the studio. But they all have stories, they all have expertise, and they should be sharing those things. And from that, if they get a good podcast going and a good following, they will find more business and people will find them. So they need to get in this space for sure.
Is it Monday through Friday? Like what? I mean, I know it's just starting out, and I'm sitting in here right now for the listeners who are hearing this. It's a beautiful setup. It's plenty of room. What is this, like 10 by 20, something like that? Close to
A little bit bigger than that, but
okay.
yeah.
And it's got 4 or 5 seats, plenty of microphones, and so if you want to come and just lay down a track, so to speak, tell your story, and have some folks help you navigate around how it takes just to get started. This studio is for free. You just have to schedule it.
Basically,
And
yeah.
and how do they schedule it?
You would contact Mr. Joe Anderson. Go ahead, Joe.
We've got a form on our website. If you go to highway85creative.com/studio85,
Right.
There's a form right there on the website that just asks you some questions, and that kicks over to me, and we figure it out.
Highway85creative.com, and is there a button on the homepage that clicks you to it?
Yeah, up under our resources in the top menu, if you hover over resources, you'll find Studio 85 right in there.
Okay.
And we'll assist to a degree. This isn't a
Sure.
moneymaker for us. It does take some time
Right.
up of ours, but we want to teach you what we know to this point and help you initially, and then who knows? Maybe you put this in your own
Arsenal, right?
Yeah, in your own company, or
Right.
you want to keep using this space and you want to use this decor because you love it. We have a spot on the wall to do. We can print an
You can brand
SEG
it?
graphic, so you
Okay.
can brand the podcast if you want to do some living, like
Wow.
Facebook Live, or
All
take
right.
some photos.
Yeah, what we want to do is we're trying to be good neighbors.
Okay.
We
Awesome.
have
That's a good way
resources
to put
that
it.
not everybody has, and we want to share those resources.
All right.
My 12-year-old son loves those stupid unboxing videos that are on YouTube that are all the rage with the kids right now.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And he's been trying to
And
get
spooky,
me.
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's kinda-
It's
it is
weird
to me,
It is weird, but
but
the,
we'll come back
the
to
kids
later.
love it, and he wants to do those. He's been trying to talk me into letting him do those, but like at my house, the lighting's terrible. I've got a parrot who only needs to make noise when we're trying to do something where he needs to be
Joe, you
quiet.
would have a parrot,
He
wouldn't
would
you?
have a parrot. Yes, he would.
My place just isn't a good place to record audio. Plus, I don't have the money to buy all this stuff for this. Whereas, with Studio 85 being a community resource, I can bring my kid here, let him record his stupid unboxing videos here,
Right.
and then we're happy, and he's at least putting together decent content.
So, and this is, again, I'm being reiterative here, but I think it's important. This is a completely free resource to come in and talk. But at some point, if you guys need help, if they need help producing it, we can
Well,
hook
there you
them up
go.
with different partners or
There's different partners to use for the producing
Right.
part of it. We use a partner on the outside that actually turns our podcast into something, more beautiful than just us, talking here. And a little intro, a little fade in, fade out, get rid of some of the bleeps and bloopers. We turn them on to that thing. It's not terribly expensive. There's people locally, there's people outside of here. And you cut the tracks. It's all free. You'll have this content, and then what you do with it from there is, we make suggestions, and then you run with
and
it.
It's early days for the studio. And, at some point I can see you guys having studio85.com or whatever the URL is. And on that site, you can schedule your own time. You could, you can go to it for different resources, I would imagine. But for now, it's a place to get information. And maybe even this particular
this is the second time we've really promoted it, and we just put it up on the website. So what you're talking about down the road, it absolutely is going to be that way, because we know this is going to take off for people. So
I love it. So beautiful. We want to be nice to our neighbors. We're paying it forward. It's a free resource. Come on in, kick the tires, check it out, and it might evolve into something that you guys really want to use for your own business. And sometimes it's just fun to get your team around some microphones and talk about the business. I kind of have a recording session if you're a band, but you're talking about your business. And it's geared towards local businesses
and just to say this as a final note for anybody who's still on this podcast and debating it, is there was a keynote in a room. I was just watching on YouTube, maybe 3,000-4,000 people on this keynote. And it was raise your hand if, 8 years ago you were consuming content on a podcast, and there was like 3 or 4 hands that go up. And then today, how many of you have listened to a podcast? And 75% of the room has raised their hand.
Right.
It's
called Studio 85. It's free for the use. Yeah. And go to highway85creative.com.
Thank you for listening to Creative Spaces Podcast. For more information about Highway 85 Creative, visit us at highway85creative.com.